With us today is one of Hollywood's most handsome leading men, and...
Want to come closer? And one of its most
competent actors. He has had a solid career spanning a couple of decades. TV fans who know his series Takes a Thief, and currently he co-stars as Pete Ryan, a charming ex-con and part of a private eye team with Eddie Albert on the CBS series Switch. Robert Wagner is... Sex-starved people. Also with us is not only a classic entertainer, but truly a citizen of the world. This woman has done it all, and always with great style. And I'm glad when she's here to tell us about what's new in her life. She's going back to college, she is. Pearly May, the great Pearl May. Very nice. Now, also here today, for his television debut on our show is a young man who is the #1 singer in Canada, and he has the #1 song there right now. A song which is also riding very high on the charts here in the United States. He's had 3 albums in Canada. 2 of them have gone gold. 1 is double platinum, and he is starting to enjoy an equally successful career, concerts, both in Canada and here in the United States. He's here to sing his big hit, Sometimes When We Touch. 20th Century Fox recording star Dan Hill. But now I have a very nice announcement today to make. One of my favorite groups in the whole world is here. They are absolutely wonderful, and they're special surprise guests here today. Now, 3 of them were to be here because there are 3 in the group. One of them has that heebie-jeebies that's going around, that stomach flu that is terrible. But 2 of them made it, and they're in town filming major roles in Robert Stigwood's production of Sgt. Pepper. And they have just released a soundtrack, could I see that? From Saturday Night Fever, which contains great songs, and they wrote 5 of them. One of them I know, I'm predicting right here, is going to win the Oscar as best song of this past year. The song is called How Deep Is Your Love, and the Bee Gees are here. Very nice. Now, it is Maurice who has the heebie-jeebies. And Barry and Robin are here. Now, it would be foolish of the 2 of them to come out and do How Deep Is Your Love with just 2 of them, because Maurice's part is certainly outstanding. He goes bum 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 in it, you know. Of course, I could do it, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. What we're going to do is play you a very special performance of How Deep Is Your Love. And then also, you're going to hear, after they come out, their brand new hit, which will just shoot right up the charts to #1. But right now, the Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love? Watch. Join me in a warm greeting, and I know you will, for the co-star of the popular CBS television series Switch, now on at a new hour, 10 o'clock on Monday nights. It's been a screen star ever since his first movie roles back in the golden days of Hollywood, with more than 50 pictures to his credit, and a wonderful, loyal following of fans. Here's Robert Wagner. Now do you see the resemblance, huh? feels nice, huh?
Oh, isn't that marvelous?
Would you like to buy a record of that for around the house?
Yes, it would be good.
Press a little button when you come out in the morning, and Natalie says, what do you want, Bob, for breakfast? Orange juice.
She'd have a bigger record going.
Yeah, would she? Of her own, right?
Yes.
That was your last visit here.
Yeah, Nat and I came on when we were doing Cat on a Hot Tin.
Yeah.
You were so nice.
That worked very well, too, didn't it?
What a thrill.
Excellent.
That was really fun.
Yeah. You like to do those, leave the daily job to strike out and do some heavy things once in a while.
Well, that one, came about, that was really a marvelous situation because we never had any idea that we were ever going to play that.
Yeah.
And when Sir Laurence Olivier called us and said, would you like to come to England and do Cat on a Hot Tin Roof? I mean...
Did you say, who?
Yes.
Who's calling? Who is this? Sir Laurence? Yeah, that's
I want to
great
tell
honor.
you, I watched one of your shows the other day, and I watched many of them. And you were really sensational the other day. You,
Bob, thank you. What'd I do?
No, the Benny Goodman thing. You
Was
were
I? Oh,
marvelous.
Benny.
Benny
Benny
great.
Goodman Show.
And when you sang,
All I did was say, here's Benny.
No, you sang the
Shadow of Your Smile.
You were sensational.
Sheldon playing the trumpet.
And to see Mel again and see him play, that was really wonderful.
That was a cute moment on the show. Mel Powell, one of the great all-time jazz pianists, who now teaches at Cal State Fullerton. And he had all his students here. And of course, that was before their time. And the thrill of watching their faces as their teacher sat up and played this great stuff with Benny was wonderful.
Do we really thank Jack Sheldon for that? I mean, is that true? Is that the whole thing true about that?
Jack Sheldon was the voice, was this... Oh. A little squatty guy like that, with little 3-inch legs, can play such beautiful horn. I mean, he played Shadow of Your Smile all through Sandpiper. That was the haunting horn of Jack Sheldon.
Yes, I've heard that about Jack.
Yes, well, it's true.
I played Natalie Wood's 21st birthday party at Romanoff.
Oh, yes, I remember that
And
very
you
well.
were the only guy that would talk to me.
Oh, yes?
Everybody hated you?
Yeah, Robert Wagner was so drunk I could hardly see him.
Oh, will you stop? Now, that's one of Sheldon's little jokes.
Do you remember that night? That was a
I do,
sensational night because Frank Sinatra gave her a surprise birthday party.
That's right,
remember?
yeah.
And Dean Martin was there, and Spencer Tracy, and the
Tony
Weather Park.
Curtis was there.
Yeah, they were. I didn't
You
remember
were
Tony
studying
Curtis there.
karate.
Oh yes, that's right.
Well, you didn't
Well, I
want
learned that from Ray Brown. I mean,
No, it was a girl named Gloria Karate.
Is that who he was doing? You can't fool with him, Bob.
so bad.
He is really bad. He is one of the bad boys of this town of all time. Do your friends, over the years, the fans call you Robert, some of your friends call you Bob, but the close crowd call you RJ.
Well, you see,
What do you answer to?
all of them.
Do you?
I answer anything. Anybody says anything to me, I answer. But the RJ situation came out of the fact that I'm a junior. My father was Robert J. Wagner, and I was a junior, so they decided to call me RJ. That was very fashionable in those days. And I kind of wanted to keep that name when I got into pictures. And they said to me, well, there's only one other person who has initials in this business, and that's K.T. Stevens, and she's not working, and you are, so you're going to be known as Robert Wagner. You remember those days.
I certainly do, very well. You came from a affluent family in Southern California, but not necessarily in the theatrical business.
Well, my father was, he came from Michigan, and he came out here to California, and, thank you. And he came to California, and I was sort of brought up around the picture business, knowing a lot of people in the picture business. And as I got older, I wanted to go into it, and my father was very much against it.
Did someone see you at a party and say, Bob, you'd be perfect for motion pictures, or did you do it yourself? Did you crash the movies?
Well, when I was in school, I was a student body president and worked in theater and small groups, and the kids kept saying, you ought to be in pictures. And I used to do a lot of impersonations of Cagney and Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant, all those things that we all did. And So I got an opportunity. Actually, I jumped over the wall of Warner Brothers Studios, and I got into a casting office.
Solly Biano.
Solly Biano, right. And I walked in, and I started to do Jimmy Cagney and Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant and a little bit of Greg Peck, and they said, "Who is this nutcase that's here?" And so they finally said, "Why don't you do you?" And I turned around and ran out of the casting office. That was when I was about 16. And I went back at 19. I was still doing Jimmy Stewart.
And they were getting older, right?
That's right.
That's funny. Your very first picture was what?
The first picture with my name on the screen was Halls of Montezuma. Before that, I'd worked a lot as an extra. And I always thought, you know, if I got in front of the camera, that somebody would say, "Who is that guy?" I never knew that once the extras got established, they didn't work the next day. You know about that. You know, once they see you on film,
You can't be seen in
you can't be seen again. And I always kept thinking, well, isn't that marvelous? I kept seeing me, you know, get up in front of the camera, get closer and get closer. And I thought, well, that's terrific. I did about 80 pictures like that. I see myself.
One film, Bob, and it was the life story of Jane Froman, who I know well and did a lot of work with her. But the picture was called With a Song in My Heart. And there was just a couple of close-ups of Robert Wagner in that film. And from that, the mail poured into the studio, demands to see more of that young man. That was really the beginning, wasn't it?
That really was, yeah. It was a very fortunate thing for me. A man, Walter Lang, directed that film. I didn't really know what was going on then very much. I was very frightened, and I didn't know very much about acting. Susan Hayward played the part, as you know.
Yeah.
And she sang this song to me, and all I did was look at her, and she really made me cry. And they photographed it. And Daryl Zanuck, at that time, who was head of the studio, said that that'll be the biggest part that you will have in a picture. And I said, well, how could that possibly be, Daryl? I'm only on the screen for a minute. And he said, because everybody will walk out of the theater and they'll say, who was that guy?
And they did.
And they did. And it was really a lucky break. It was really a fortunate break.
I'm holding this so that you can't make any mistakes chronologically in your career, because I have your whole career here on Blue Cards.
How many cards do you have?
Single-spaced, quite a number of titles. How would you like to see a montage of your movie career in 35 seconds?
Why don't we have that?
There's a little surprise for Robert Wagner. Dick Carson did this. Watch. Isn't that nice? Robert Wagner.
Yeah, nice to see you.
We'll be right back. Well, let's give Bob Wagner another surprise. Yes, Aren't they about the handsome couple? Oh, easy! Jeez. We have to call the Vice Squad and clean this place out.
Was that Jack Sheldon making all
That was Jack Sheldon. Does all those voices. Is that amazing? Woo! Your 21st birthday. Do you remember that particular party?
Oh, very well, my
Yeah.
God.
It was yesterday, right?
Big signs up saying the names of the restaurants that would finally be able to legally serve me a glass of wine.
Oh, that's right, state of California. The laws are 21.
That's right.
It's New York that gets away with the 18. Yeah.
You were totally surprised that night, too, because I
I
remember
was
Frank
totally amazed.
Sinatra had, they were doing a picture together, Kings Go Forth, and he had gotten very badly injured. Remember, he had his
That's
almost
right.
lost his eye.
And he was wearing a black patch.
Yeah, a black patch, and he was to bring Natalie in. I was working.
Yeah.
And he brought her up to this party, and I'm telling you, it was a night.
It was unbelievable. It was the upstairs room at Romanov's. And I don't know how many people were there. Loads of people. It was fantastic.
I love the both of you. You've maintained not only wonderful lives as interesting people, great parents, but you've also kept all that glamour that this town should have. It's sometimes you wonder, where did all of that go? Have the stars become too much a part of the audience, trying to be like everybody else? And the two of you have just maintained that wonderful glamour that is exciting to fans.
How weird. Have we really done that?
Do you do it consciously, or are you so busy working you're just not aware of it?
Well,
Go ahead.
you look terrific. What have you done tonight?
No, we've been, we don't really
I've
think
been
about
driving my kids to school. I don't know.
We don't really think about that too much. We just live our own life and do our own thing and our own people.
Are you on that boat a lot?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on the
a
boat.
lot.
Now you're doing Meteor with Sean Connery.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's terrific. Has he? You
Oh,
must know
many
Sean.
times.
Oh,
He's one of the best
great.
guests on a talk show.
Yes.
I love him.
Oh, I always forget that Sean has rather a heavy accent, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. And it's very funny because I play a girl with a Russian accent. And we had a scene the other day, and I had to say, what was the line? I had to say,
In Russian, you're asking me to lie?
No. I had to say it with the Russian accent. And I had to say, it's true. And
What?
It's true, or something like that.
Good.
And he said, it's true. And I suddenly heard myself saying, well, isn't it true? And I thought, wait a minute, that's Scottish. I've got to get back to my Russian.
How long have you been on that picture?
Since October the 31st. It's, you know, everything. New York City is demolished. It's rather
Are you
exciting.
wiping out New York in this one?
Not me. I'm an ally, a Russian ally, trying to save matters. Together with Sean.
Well, I'm delighted. This is a nice surprise to see you
It
out
was a
here.
surprise for me. I was just watching, and somebody said, come
Did
on.
you know Pearl Bailey's back there?
Oh, sure.
Yes.
We worked together, didn't you?
Sweet.
Yes, one of the clips on the piece of film that your people put together was a clip from that picture.
Let me take a break. That'll be a nice reunion to see you all together. After this message.
He did a gig out at Dante's with Paul Smith.
Oh, yeah. Ray's just back from Japan, where he did a concert. We're talking about you over here in your base. Other thing we were talking about during the commercial was your Prince Valiant performance.
Oh, my Prince Valiant performance,
Yes. I love that. That
you
showed
like
up
that?
there, yeah, with the hairdo.
I'll tell you a funny
Didn't
story.
start a trend, though.
Well, the Beatles.
Yeah, I guess they came the
up.
closest, yeah.
But
This was a frizzier version of
Dean Martin talked to me for 15 minutes one day when I had that wig on, and he thought I was Jane Wyman.
Did he?
It took me 7 minutes to straighten him up.
Probably still doesn't believe it to this day, right? Greet, if you will, lady proudly called the ambassador of love, Pearlie May, Miss Pearl Bailey. She knows how to get along with July 6th guys, right?
Well, you got my
Look
love,
who
honey.
flew in just to see you.
My love.
From Beverly Hills.
My love. That's who you have here. May I sit down?
Well, why sit there?
I make some.
Join the crowd here.
You got my loves here. They look the same as they did.
Not a bit of difference, is it?
Wait a minute.
3 years ago.
10, 15.
first marriage.
Fine young camels. What? 15 years?
Yes.
They were married then.
Fine young camels.
Yeah, that was your
No.
first marriage.
He was married to me, but having an affair with her. In the movie.
The man called me up on the phone and says, you're going to talk about something. Guess who's going to be on the show? Bob Wagner. He said, you know what? You and him were in love in a picture. I said, child, I was old enough to be his mother. No. But Lord knows I was trying.
Yeah, were you? Yeah.
You know why I couldn't make any headway? Those gorgeous big eyes were watching every move I made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, Natalie, she was watching every move.
Oh, yeah.
You were so wonderful in that picture.
Oh,
It was
wow.
really, really